Hello and welcome to Seahawk Talk. It is Monday, March 24, and it's season 5, episode 3 for South Virginia University's Athletics Seahawk Talk. I'm Ed Habishaw. Hello again and welcome everybody. Have a packed show for you here today with a number of guests. You can see on the bottom of the screen our scroll with David Lunn, our women's ice hockey head coach, and with Sean Mulligan, baseball pitcher turned broadcaster, and also with our director of athletics, Sean Sullivan. Want to welcome in as well, as you see on the screen, Emily Winslow. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, I'm excited to be here on Seahawk Talk. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've had a busy stretch here going since our last episode, which was more than a month ago, February 17th, which was President's Day. And now we were scheduled to be on last Monday. I'll confess, I was dead tired after the red eye from Arizona. Spent a wonderful week out in Arizona with the South Virginia softball team, who for the second straight year played in Tucson, Arizona. Wonderful background setting for softball games at Lincoln Park. And the Seahawks played 8 games down there. And by the time I got home on Monday morning, March 17th, just flat out exhausted. So we took a week delay for resuming our Seahawk Talk, and now we're back with it today. You had an experience as well with spring break. Let's hear about that, Emily.
Yeah, it was great. I had the opportunity to travel with the Seahawk baseball team to Auburndale, Florida it's my first time traveling with the team. I understand they've been going to Russ Matt baseball for a while over spring break. So it was really exciting to get to experience that. It's a lot of baseball in a few days. So I can only imagine how just mentally you have to be present as a baseball player on the team, and it's, you got to make sure you recover. So it was really a great experience, and the team ended up beating University of Mount Union 16-6 in a mercy rule game, that was the first game there. So it was a nice welcome to Florida to see that really successful game.
Yeah, they've been seeing the Raiders a lot lately on their trips to Florida. I think 3 years in a row they faced them.
Well, yeah, it was right in the main complex on the main field. So there's a lot going on. There was, you could get, I think, fried alligator or something at a food cart behind the the backstop. I don't think anybody that traveled with us ended up getting any fried alligator, but it was there.
You didn't try it?
No, didn't try it. And then
you prefer a crocodile over alligator?
I guess I must. I don't know if that would be. I think reptiles don't exist in the vegetarian diet.
I was gonna say, I know in your diet you do eat seafood, but do crocodiles or alligators qualify as seafood?
I don't know. That's a good question. I've never really explored that food group.
Yeah, reptiles.
And then the team went on to beat Webster the following day 4-0. A little bit of a difficult day on March 11th with a loss to Stockton and RIT, but the final 2 games of the series against Marymount and Russell Sage were both wins for the Seahawks, so ended the stint in Florida on a good note.
Yeah, I did text my son and future daughter-in-law, Kiernan and Julia. They're both graduates of RIT, so I congratulated them as their Tigers beat the number 2 team in the country at the time. That was a 9-6 win for the RIT Tigers over our South Virginia Seahawks a week ago Wednesday, or 2 weeks ago. We've already been back a week.
Well, it was really nice to be traveling with the team. I also got the chance to talk to several students that work with the team, including Carter Grimm, Jacob LaRoche, and Sam Mansolf. And Carter and Jacob are both baseball analytics interns, and Sam manages the team's media. So it was great to see them and everything that they put in on a daily basis to make the team successful. And Carter he tracks the game, and that gives stats like pitching stats to the coaches. They're able to use that as feedback. Sam got some really great photos and did some videos for social media. So it was great to see all the work that they do as well.
Wonderful. It's a busy week. People say, "Oh, you're going to Florida, you're going on vacation, or you're going to Arizona. Enjoy your vacation." It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on in a short period of time.
What it does too, it prepares both of those teams that travel, South Virginia softball and South Virginia baseball, for NCAA level competition, because you don't get to play a midweek game and then a weekend series. It is back to back to back to back for everything.
Yes, thinking back to Ohio, especially last year in the D3 College World Series, there were a lot of games in a short period of time. And I think this really helps Salve baseball get ready for that and get ready to operate from a point of being tired and having to, go to your bullpen in certain situations. That just gets them ready for that level of competition in the postseason.
And here's another nice thing. You got a chance to cover extra games down there beyond the varsity squad. Our JV members got some activity out there, more than 2 games, I believe, and you were there for photos, if not for stats, unfortunately, because one of our favorite pitchers got a hit down there.
Yes, John Mulligan, who also helped us as a tremendous broadcaster on all of the games. He did the audio-only broadcast, and he posed some Seahawk trivia, and he got fans involved, so he did an awesome job with that. But in addition to that, he got an at-bat in the game against the Fieldhouse Pirates, which was a JV game against a team from Canada. So I can share a picture of his at-bat. And here we can see.
Who knew?
Yeah.
He has that batting form. He's an All-American pitcher.
Yeah. And then he got hit by pitch, so he advanced to first, and we can see that picture here as he throws the bat.
Oh, yeah. He wore it well.
He did.
He's the Emily Lane of South Virginia baseball, both from New Jersey. Emily Lane has the all-time record in hit by pitch for South Virginia softball. Twice this past Sunday, now 33 for her career.
That's quite a record. Yeah, so he advanced hit by pitch, then he stole 2 bases, and he ended up scoring a run when I believe it was Brady Shops got a single.
Brady Shops with the RBI, and thanks, Sean, for crossing the plate. Now, you weren't able to capture his stolen bases because he runs too fast?
I do actually have some photos of those as well. I'd have to dig them out of the folder, but
the archives.
But they might have been a little blurry because he was moving so fast.
Too fast.
Yeah.
So we have David Lunn. We're hoping to have him join this live stream in a few minutes at 6:15, and then he'll be followed by the first of 2 Seans. Sean Mulligan, will join us at 6:30, live from wherever he is in Newport, because he's back on campus since his broadcasting debut down in Auburndale, Florida. And then we have another Sean Sullivan, our director of athletics. So lots of people to talk to, bring into the show, and a lot of people to talk about.
Yeah, we're lucky to have 3 live visitors on this show. It's great to be able to do pre-recorded interviews as well, but it's nice to just have an authentic conversation and hear about some different teams and their success, and even talk about winter sports and spring sports. And women's ice hockey had a really successful winter season, so I'll be excited to talk with the coach of the year.
Yeah, We were supposed to have him on last Monday. Again, I'll take the blame for asking for a week off, but we are back now, and we get a chance to hopefully welcome David Lunn to the show. I sent him a link to the stream. This will be his first time joining us via StreamYard, so not sure if he got it. We will take a break shortly to check in with him offline, and then if we can't bring him onto the program, we'll divert and switch to some other programming for the next 15 minutes before getting connected with Sean Mulligan. But thank you for joining us on episode 3 of season 5 of Seahawk Talk. We'll be back in a short break.
When you're in college, you kind of find out who you are. And throughout your 4 years, you develop yourself with all the different experiences, which leads into dedicating yourself to your community, to your family. So when you're a senior, you're coming out a well-rounded person.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests outside of the classroom and outside of the court or field. I've had the ability to get into different activities and organizations, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
Getting to be involved in a lot of different things, ranging from obviously being a student athlete to getting involved with my campus and my community, and not only being allowed to do that, but being encouraged to do that.
The opportunity to be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, to have the professors know me on a personal level, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference. It really helps you develop thinking from other people's perspectives and looking at problems from outside the box.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
I've definitely learned how to really be myself. I found out, yes, I am actually a good leader, and yes, I can actually put myself forward because I am good enough. I can do it.
Coming in to college, I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of different career goals, and I've learned so much about myself that I was always like growing and changing.
When I got to college, it forced me to step up and become more of a leader, and I think that was something I had the capability of doing, and forever grateful that being at a Division III school gave me that opportunity.
You have to dedicate your time in the classroom, you have to dedicate your time in the gym, on the field, on the court.
Our coaches and the entirety of the athletic department, they valued the student athlete going out to community and trying something new and getting involved in campus life.
You can get involved in so many different things. So the possibilities are truly limitless for what you can do with your college experience. You can kind of make it your own in the Division III setting. So I would encourage people who want to have flexibility to pursue different interests and passions to go D3.
And welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Ed Habishar and Emily Winslow on the program with you. And today we have the treat of welcoming in our New England hockey coach, women's ice hockey head coach of the year, David Lund. He's always going to give credit to his fellow staff members, but he's in his 5th year. Welcome, David, to Seahawk Talk.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Hear me okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Great. Not a problem. Thanks for the intro.
So congratulations on an outstanding season, 17 wins for the Seahawks. They advanced again to the NEHC conference playoffs. Last year was CCC, this year NEHC. And you advanced beyond the first round once again and got to meet with Elmira, the team that ended up winning the championship for the conference and moving on to the NCAAs.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We had a good season. We fell to a good team in Elmira that was, they were a good team all year. Obviously advancing to the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament. So, they got hot at the right time as well. And, unfortunately, someone's got to win. So, but we had a good season all in all. I think that was it was a good show to our progress.
The progress.
I'm losing you, Ed. I don't have your audio.
I'm talking about the progress that you guys have been making with the team You inherited the team in 2020. I remember interviewing with you during the pandemic in the
Yes,
summer of 2020, and everything was shut down essentially. You only got to actually have one game in your first year, but then you went to a full schedule the second year. So you've gone from 6 to 11, 11, and now 17 wins. Talk about that progress and how the team has evolved over your 5 years now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been able to kind of slowly, you know, roll, I guess, if you will, since day one. COVID being a pretty interesting time, and being able to squeak in a scrimmage or a game exhibition, I guess it counts on my record. So, an actual game. But it, it took some time, right? It took some time to, develop some of the individuals that we have here, some of the athletes. It took some time to get some quality athletes in as well. And then it took time to kind of put all that together to maturate it and put things together. And we're still, truth be told, I don't think we're still there yet, but we're getting closer, right? We're step by step getting closer. And I'm excited to see kind of what the future holds here. I think this year maybe last year we underachieved a little bit. I thought this year maybe we overachieved a little bit, you could say. But I think so we're starting to figure out a little bit more. And again, excited to see how this all comes together, how it develops and continues to grow.
And you had a lot of really young athletes, freshmen and sophomores, step up and have an amazing leadership role in the team and just really excel in their positions. Can you talk a little bit about how that helped the team, and especially in the postseason?
Yeah, we're very youth oriented, if you will. A lot of our depth is located within our sophomore and freshman class. And I think that the freshmen from last year, now sophomores this year, were able to make an equally, if not bigger, contribution, which helped propel us into the postseason and have such a good year. And we had a lot of freshmen that contributed this year as well, in an everyday kind of role. And I think it helped give us a little bit more of a depth in our roster. And obviously with that kind of maturation process, a little bit older, a little bit wiser, understanding the ins and the outs. And then obviously, we had some good leadership from our captains, even to some of our older seniors and juniors and upperclassmen, if you will. Although we're a little bit more dominated by our younger classmen, we definitely had some leadership step up, which I think was also a big crucial piece to our success this year, was some leadership that matured, through the course of their tenure here, and was able to really balance things out.
Yeah, it
David,
was. Oh, sorry.
go ahead, Emily.
It was great just watching your team from the beginning of the season and seeing, some of the freshmen step or skate on the ice for the first time, and how the upperclassmen and the captains supported them, and then they were able to just come into the roles that they needed to fill on the team, and it seemed like the dynamic just was great throughout the season.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good dynamic. And I think it took its natural course. We had some hills and valleys at the beginning of the year, and I think throughout the course of the year, we would kind of rise and fall a little bit, but I think it started to rise as we got closer to the end of the year. So we started to peak, towards the latter half of the year at the right time. And a lot of it, I think, was just the overall development of our group and leadership. A lot of it had to do with our leadership too.
So, David, you're on the recruiting trails, and you've had that experience before coming to Salve, assistant with Wesleyan, but also club programs, Danbury Titans and Brewster Bulldogs. Talk about how similar and or different recruiting for those programs is to recruiting for Salve Virginia University.
Good question. They're all similar in certain respects, and they're all very different within their own right. the similarities are that, obviously the game of hockey at a high level, and choosing from, I guess, elite programs or, very selective groups, and then trying to obviously pick what fits or what you need to add to the group, to the system, to the soup, I call it, here, and to obviously make it as best tasting as you can. Each element is different. From Wesleyan and the NESCAC system is a little bit different boat to you mentioned Danbury and Brewster, that those are different boats and different environments. So they're all a little bit different. They all need to be tweaked. Um, you're all maybe looking for something different here or there to add to the group that's here, and try to get better for the next year. So it may look a little different from year to year, but just trying to put together and piece together, the best group that you can, and obviously hockey is the main ingredient, but there's also a lot of other ingredients that go into that, and academics, obviously being good students, and then obviously being good individuals. You can easily bring in good hockey players, but they might not be the fit that you're looking for from a social dynamic. So you also have to be very keen on that as well in the group that you have in front of you. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Each group is different. Each level and element is different. So there's a lot of similarities, but at the same time, there's a lot of differences too.
Speaking of good individuals, again, I want to congratulate you on your Coach of the Year, but also for nominating a good individual in Rachel Porter for our Athletic Hall of Fame. And then you also welcomed her to a game where she dropped the first puck. Talk about overseeing a program and recognizing its history the way you did with Rachel Porter.
Yeah, I think that being able to tie elements of the past into the now, the here and the present are important, equally as important as continuing to develop the talent that you have here. Being able to keep those individuals involved and recognize them for specific reasons. Obviously, in this case, Rachel Porter being the all-time leading point scorer in Salve women's hockey history, is important. And I think that we want to recognize that for all of her achievements and everything that she's been able to do. A lot of which is very recognizable in all of Division III women's hockey. And then obviously trying to bring awareness to that with our current group, with our current players and things to strive for, and I hope that there may be someone in that bunch that can break some of Rachel's records, and and then we can come back and do that again in 10, 15, 20 years time, whatever it may be, that we can honor that individual for their accomplishments, through the course of their career, and can kind of keep that cycle going. So I think that's a big part of what we're trying to do now, is obviously recognizing some of the past, and obviously with 26 years now, working on 27 next year of hockey history here with the Division III women's program, that we're there's a lot to look back onto, with a lot of success, and a lot of achievements.
It was really great getting to talk to Rachel before the Hall of Fame, and then again when she came to your game this year. Even though she's the all-time leading scorer, she's very selfless in that she wasn't focused on scoring goals, or she was just focused on getting the puck to her teammates and creating opportunities for success. But it just was not about her. It was about the team, which was really refreshing, and it's really wonderful she was able to be honored this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think her, as a leading point scorer, I think obviously the larger of her two categories was assists, and I think she holds the single season record, if my memory serves me, as most assists in her career, in season and in career total. So to prove your point, yes.
So congratulations to Rachel. Congratulations to Coach Lund. Thanks for joining us, David, on Seahawk Talk.
Yes, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for taking the time out of your evening.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, guys.
Take care. That's David Lund, South Virginia University women's ice hockey head coach. We thank him for joining us on the program. We're going to switch sports right away and jump into baseball, where we will be joined right away by All-American pitcher Sean Mulligan. Sean, welcome to the program.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Very good.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
You and Emily worked so well together during spring break. I appreciate the fact that you stepped right up and said, no, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I didn't see you in action. I heard you in action. And what a wonderful listen to be able to hear the game called by Sean Mulligan. What made you feel like you were ready to jump into this broadcasting thing and talk about your fellow teammates?
Honestly, nothing made me feel ready. Coach told us about 15 minutes before game one that we needed somebody to do it. And I'm not participating this year, so I figured might as well step up. We needed a guy to do it for all of our games, all 6 games. So figured might as well be me. I've been here for 3 years. I know all the guys, so it was good to get to share information on everyone and try to include as many people as possible, even if they weren't in the game. Try to teach parents about kids that they haven't met yet.
It was great. I know going into the first game, you came over and you said something like, "Oh, coach sent me over here to help you." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'll start out the first inning and then you can try it out." And you immediately were like, "Well, I think I'll try the whole game. Like that'll be easier." And then I was like, "Well, this is awesome. We have a Salve pitcher going to do the whole game. I can focus on stats." And every game I kept thinking, "Well, I don't know if we'll be able to do this game." And then you kept coming back. So it was really great to have you broadcast every game.
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, it would obviously be very difficult for you to do stats and broadcast, especially when you maybe don't know like all the guys on the roster. So you would have to be checking rosters, looking at numbers all the time. If I just see somebody, I would know his name right away, but it would be much more difficult for you. So it was really fun to help out. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you not only knew names, but you knew backstories, you knew nicknames. I mean, you were giving us some insider information.
I was trying. All the parents were complimenting me. They were all listening while they were watching the game, and they all seemed to like that I was like including backstories on the guys. So figured I might as well keep it going.
It was great to hear all the nicknames and all the backstories on the nicknames. Like, is it Evan O'Rourke that his nickname is, what was it?
It's Sheigs.
Yes. What was the backstory on that again?
I think his parents went to Notre Dame and Boston College. So his Xbox name is Irish Eagles after the Fighting Irish and the Boston College Eagles. So we shortened it to Sheigs.
That's a very clever nickname.
Yeah.
Yours is a simple nickname.
Yep,
I'm assuming it's Mully?
Just Mully. Just my last name pretty much.
So you started off with the Mount Union game. What did you know about the Raiders that might have given you insight into that matchup? I know we played them the last 2 years, your first 2 years as a Seahawk. Were you able to have a feel for the opponent as well as the Seahawks?
Yeah, so my freshman year, we played them, and I can't remember who pitched that game, maybe Nick Colano. And then I actually pitched against them last year. And it was a very similar roster between the 2 years, like last year and this year. So I already knew a bunch of the names, recognized some of the guys' stances in the box or whatever. And they're always a good team. So I kind of assumed that everyone in the lineup would be good and I could just say good things about them because they're a very good team.
That's the mark of a good broadcaster. Speaking of stances, you got to bat in an exhibition game down there. Talk about that experience.
Me and Kyle Carrozza, our other pitcher captain, were in the office one day, and I said to coach, "Hey, coach, let me get an at bat. If I'm not going to play this year, so if we go far, I want to feel like I was a part of it, just not on the bench the whole time." So he stuck me in the box for an at bat, and I haven't hit in 3 years, so it's really an experience.
You not only hit, you stole a pair of bases, and then you came home with a run.
Yep. Yeah. It was good to get on base. It would have been a shame if I struck out in front of all the guys.
How did it feel to get hit by somebody else's pitch?
It actually got me in an elbow guard given to me by one of the freshmen, Alex Zimmerman. So it didn't hurt, but it was really like kind of scary to be in the box again after 3 years, especially the guy that was pitching for them through sidearm. So it was a very unique motion he had, and I wasn't expecting to see that if I was going to get an at bat.
Yeah, I don't care if it's a lefty sidearm or a righty sidearm. Whichever side you bat from, that's going to be scary because it comes from a different level.
Yep.
We also have this photo of you throwing away the bat when you got on base. So that was another moment you can remember from Florida.
Yep.
Like
there's so many videos of it. Everyone was so excited for me. I was because I don't know, not being able to nice picture, not being able to play this year. I guess all the guys probably a little upset for me, and just as upset as I am that I'm not able to be out there with them. But it was a good moment to be able to share one memory of this season on the field.
And that's so nice in this day and age with cameras everywhere. Everybody has a device that has a camera on it. That all of your teammates were so excited to step up to the fence, shoot through that fence, and capture the moment either with video and or a still shot.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about how you came up with some of the Seahawk trivia questions?
Yeah, so I just the first couple I just thought of on my own. Like right away, I knew we had a lot of guys from Fairfield, so I just checked the roster. It was 6. When Braden Clark was pitching, I realized that him and Tyler Petrosino went to the same high school. I knew that we had a few more guys who went to the same high school as other teammates, so I thought that could be a good question. And then after the game that I started doing it, I went up to the guys on the team and was like, hey, I started this thing. Do you have any questions that would be good for the broadcast? And just kind of went from there.
I thought the tattoo question was interesting because I never would. You said, I think, how many Seahawks have tattoos in the dugout, which was clever because then that also includes Logan. And I don't. Do any of your coaches have tattoos? I can't remember.
No, just
Okay.
Logan.
Well, that was a clever way to phrase it.
Yeah, it was. We were actually at the pool because we were in Florida, obviously, and I saw Will McCarthy and his tattoo, and I was thinking how many guys actually have tattoos, and there's quite a lot on the team actually. So I thought that was a good question.
Yeah, the best research does get done at the pool.
For sure.
So was that by day 3 that you were adding trivia to it? Because there were a couple of games I missed. By the way, the first game that you were broadcasting, I was entering Grand Canyon National Park.
Oh wow!
With at the time a 2-hour time difference before the clock sprung ahead.
Yep.
But that is such a brilliant move to add an interactive element to a broadcast, bringing in your listeners to say, hey, I have a chance to win, and coming up with the trivia. Were you surprised by the number of respondents and who came in as a respondent to the poll?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping a little more people would be interested because I thought it was a fun idea. So I was hoping that we would get at least 5 to 10 comments each question. But I mean, any response is a good response, in my opinion, on that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was fun. And I remember Eddie Hardiman, one of my old teammates, was responding, Dustin Cicada. So it was good to see old Seahawks staying in tuned with us now.
Yeah, and that's during the workday for them.
Yeah,
for most of them.
Yeah. So it was good to see them tuned into the game, still caring about us after
Absolutely.
they left.
Well, you reached a large audience, whether you know it or not, and whether they were interactive or not with it. folks do rely on those spring games. They rely on some sort of broadcast. We weren't able to bring our Flow College production down there. You know the setup at baseball. If you don't have the first game of the day at the ballpark, you can't set up for a big production on the fields in Florida. When you are the first game of the day, then you have the opportunity to set it up. But you stood the entire time during your call of the game?
It depended on the game. But for this game, like that exact picture, I think we were playing a doubleheader that day, and I was standing for all 18 innings. Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I would have been standing anyway if I was in the dugout, so I'm kind of used to it at this point.
And you did a really nice job of talking to the pitchers who were doing the like the pitch gun and asking them like what speed was that pitch. And I'm sure that all the fans tuning in appreciated. As a pitcher, you know exactly what kinds of pitches athletes are throwing, and you know exactly what's happening on the mound. So that was a luxury for everyone listening.
Yeah, it was good to have some partners by my side to help me broadcast if I was at a lull or something. Having the radar gun, as you said there, I could just talk about the pitcher for a second.
So we are going to bring up South Virginia baseball schedule because we do have an announcement for tomorrow's game. Sean Mulligan will not be broadcasting, and it won't be a home game for Salve Regina. We were scheduled to host Springfield College Pride tomorrow, but due to the weather and the field conditions, we are officially moving that game to Springfield. So it'll be on the campus of Springfield College tomorrow, and then no joking on this one. Next Tuesday, April 1, Salve Regina will be hosting Springfield. And maybe we'll have Sean Mulligan in the broadcast booth with us.
It would be good to make my return. It would be fun.
Yes. The weather is a little bit colder than Florida, but I'm sure you're up to it, Sean.
I'll be out there anyway.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on Seahawk Talk. Do you have any words to say to the Seahawk audience out there, whether they be fellow student athlete and or fans of the Seahawks?
I would just say respect the grind. Baseball especially, but every sport here, I know everyone puts in a great deal of hours. So, I mean, if you want to excel at your sport and as a student, you really got to embrace the grind and just take every day, day by day, and improve in little ways every day. Just keep going.
Well, thank you for those words. We're glad you are embracing the grind. And thank you so much for working with Emily during spring break. It helped her with, as you know, her workload in doing the live stats and getting a feel for the action going on. You did a wonderful job and so appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. There were some times when you said, "Did you catch that Grady Shops is now playing second?" Or so I totally appreciate it, and you did an awesome job.
Of course. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you guys for having me tonight. It was a lot of fun.
And you're always welcome back into the broadcast booth.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Just visit the donkey.
All right. Have a good one. Good to see you guys.
Sean.
See ya.
That's Sean Mulligan, or Mully, baseball All-American as a starting pitcher. Led the Seahawks to the College World Series back in 2024. And his last outing so far as a Seahawk was a shutout, complete game shutout against the University of Wisconsin Whitewater, the Warhawks. It gave Salve Regina the edge in the series. At the time, there were still 8 teams involved in the series. Seahawks and Lynchburg advanced as the only 2 undefeated teams after Sean's masterpiece. And then the Seahawks ended up meeting the Warhawks twice on Monday, needing just 1 win to advance to the championship round, as did Lynchburg as well. And neither the Hornets or the Seahawks were able to get to the championship round. The Hornets were the defending national champions as it was, but it ended up going to Misericordia, who knocked out the Seahawks in 2023. Seahawks were knocked out by the Hornets of Lynchburg in 2022, Misericordia in 23, and then the Warhawks in 24. I think Salve's due in 25. Emily and I will take a break from Seahawk Talk for a short bit. We'll be right back after a brief break. Hope to welcome Sean Sullivan into the broadcast. We go from Mulligan to Sullivan on the Shawns. Thanks for joining us on Seahawk Talk. We'll be right back.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
And welcome back to Seahawk Talk. It's episode 3 of season 5, January, February, now March. Our next episode will be on April 21, the day after Easter. We try to sync these up with all holidays, and it's working out pretty well. We're going to finish our show with a brief segment. I want to talk about some recent events at South Virginia. I'll go as far back as yesterday with some conversation about our South Virginia softball team. The Seahawks swept Emmanuel College. It was March 23, Sunday, March 23, and it was Ayana Fernandez's birthday. And did she have a game? She didn't play in the first game. She had to sit the first game as a freshman. I'm kidding. But the Seahawks were victorious, 4-3 in the first game. And Alex Kelly was the winning pitcher in that game. She worked 6 innings. Sophia Gendron came in and pitched the final inning. And the 4-3 final was a score, so Gendron got the save. Seahawks scored 3 of their runs in the first inning. The first 3 Seahawks reached base. J.C. Casciello got a walk. Sam Franceschi got a single. And Emily Cronin doubled them in after they had both stolen a base. And then Emily Cronin came in on her former high school teammate, Olivia Sicocio's sacrifice fly, because Cronin had gotten to third base. So that's a 3-0 lead that the Seahawks had after 1. And then they moved on. The Saints chipped away and got a run back, 3-1, then 3-2. We added a run for 4-2, and then 1 run in the 7th inning, but a save for a 4-3. Now we turn to game 2, a wild game. Salve Regina gave up a run in the first inning. Shea Murphy starting pitching, pitched very well through 5 1/3 innings. And then we had 3 different pitches come in after that. But the game went 1-0 we trailed, 3-1 we led, and then I'll let a little bit of this clip tell the rest of the story.
To the outfield and deep. It's going to land for an extra base hit for Ayana Fernandez. 2 runs will score. It's a 3-1 Seahawk lead. And the birthday girl has a 2-run double. Into the outfield, a gapper again for Fernandez. To the fence. Fernandez looking to make 3. And she has a 2-run triple to add to her day. Casciello on third. Wickland scored the 10th run for the Seahawks. And Secosio on first. To the outfield and landing. Seahawks get within 1. It's 12-11. Secosio down to third. 5th RBI of the game for the birthday girl, Ayana Fernandez. Mark's ready for another 3-2 pitch. Ball 4 up high. Walk for Oliveira. Crossing the plate with the winning run, Ayana Fernandez. Final score from Newport, Rhode Island. Salve Regina wins game 2, 13-12, with a 4-run rally in the bottom of the 7th.
So, Emily, what a wild game. And before the game, Derek Rinkin was setting up the new scoreboard out in left field foul area, and he was practicing with some numbers. He had a 27-20 score up there. I said, Derek, it's not a football game. Well, this final score almost proved it was a football game.
Yeah, this is a high-scoring game. I wonder if that was his prediction, that the final score was going to be 27-20.
We got darn close to it. Amazingly, Ayana Fernandez got to celebrate her 23rd, not her 23rd birthday, but number 23, Ayana Fernandez, on March 23, got to celebrate her birthday with 5 runs batted in. She made the most of it. She wasn't the only hitting star out there. As I mentioned earlier on the broadcast, Emily Lane getting hit by a pitch, not once but twice in the game. And that was a big part of a rally. We were down three runs in the last at bat, having led by 6, then by 3, and then trailing by 3. But a big comeback to get the sweep over the Saints. And backing up to Friday, Salve Regina had an annual event that you got to celebrate for the second time here.
Realizing I'm muted. Yes, National Girls and Women in Sports Day, which the actual day is celebrated earlier in the year, but the Salve Sports Clinic was held on Friday. And every women's sports team at Salve was represented with either the entire team present, the team coming in shifts, a few of the athletes there to run stations. There were over 100 girls, K through 8, from Middletown, Newport, the surrounding areas that signed up. They all got a t-shirt and pizza afterwards, and they got to move from station to station and spend 12 minutes with each sports team. And
what sports teams were represented?
Well, let me go through. There was, in the basement, women's ice hockey was set up in the weight room, and they had a little ice hockey station, or rather not ice hockey, but floor hockey station. And that they had mats, wrestling mat type mats set up, giving it a little barrier. And the kids were playing in there. There was a tennis station in the basement where the kids were practicing serving and balancing the tennis ball on the tennis racket. The track and field team was in the basement, or it was a combination of track and field and cross country.
And they do relay races around the help me out here.
The perimeter, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they were doing relay races. Andrew First's daughter got involved. It was great to see everybody super enthusiastic about the relay races. They had the batons they were passing off. And then up in the gym, which was pretty packed in there, volleyball had a station practicing serves and just hitting back and forth to each other. Field hockey had a station. Jen Foster did a wonderful job setting up this clinic. And field hockey had a station practicing stick handling, and they had cones set up. Women's soccer had a station, which was like a little mini soccer game. Women's basketball had a station where the kids were able to dribble to center court, spin around a few times, dribble back, practice shooting the ball. Softball had a pitching station set up, and they had like a T-ball type setup just for practicing swings. Women's lacrosse had a station where they were practicing cradling the ball and doing different drills. Trying to think what sports I might be missing.
Was tennis there?
Tennis was there. They were in the basement, yes.
Working on the drop volleys in the small space.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Emily, for joining us. I know you got to get going to our SAC meeting, so we'll let you jump out now and head downstairs to join the SAC meeting. I want to thank everybody else for joining us on Seahawk Talk, episode 3 and season 5. We'll be back in April on the 21st, the day after Easter. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining.